Hi friends, Jake here, and welcome to another Game Hook review. Today, we're going to take a peek at Routine. Now this one is super interesting. If you don't know, it's from a developer, a little indie dev in the UK called Lunar Software. They have a very unique story. They initially announced this game 13 years ago. They had some issues with funding and timeline. They had an expectation of what they wanted the game to look like and play like, and it wasn't satisfying them. So rather than releasing a product that they were not proud of, they made the hard decision to start over. Somewhere in like 2020 or 2022, I think, they received new funding from Raw Fury, and were able to make the game that they wanted. They did cut back on the scope because they did have to push the game out, but at the end of the day, they were proud of their product. And I just think that's so cool. The fact that they were willing to start new and make the right product rather than produce something they weren't proud of. So hats off to them. Now, let's get into the actual gameplay part of this. It's a walking horror sim. So this isn't a Resident Evil 4 situation where you're picking up a ton of different weapons or looking for different items. It's very bare bones. And here I think that's a good thing. It is all about the immersive horror. You are just walking through these dark corridors. You're kind of skirting around some robots that I will talk about in a second here. And yeah, I mean, it's creepy. The atmosphere is creepy and unsettling. You are the only one in there. There's no other life. You don't run into anybody else. And so the atmosphere horror side of it, it's perfect. A unique gameplay mechanic here is the CAT, the C-A-T. It's your weapon. I say weapon loosely because it can disable the robots, but doesn't like kill them. It's not a gun. You're not shooting things with it. It's more of a utility. It scans certain things and you actually use it to save, which I thought was really neat. There's these little stations all over the maps where you have to pull out the CAT, hit a certain button, and then it accesses the menu and then you can save. You manually have to hit the buttons. So like you hit R on the keyboard or a button to pull up the CAT and you physically look at it in the game and then you have to use your cursor to click on a button on the CAT. It's not like a menu system. There's no buttons attached to those buttons. And I've seen some people that are like, man, it'd be nice if there was a quick button. I'm in the camp that loves it. Let it be this real world immersion. I think it makes sense for the type of game that this is. So I'm a huge fan of it. It also is one of those games that does not hold your hand whatsoever. You're not opening up a menu with a waypoint marker. There is no like readily accessible quest marker or objective list. You can find one in the menu, but you have to find one of those menus to access it. It's not just on you at all times. I love this. It forces you, again, to be immersed in this creepy atmosphere. I think if you were constantly pulling up a menu to figure out what you had to do next, it would break the immersion. It would feel more gamified. This is just spooky, and I'm all here for it. So gameplay for me, exactly what it needs to be. It's flawless. Mwah, chef's kiss. Let's talk visuals. I'm blown away by the visuals too. It sounds like when they first started this game, they were in Unreal Engine 3, and then they bumped up to Unreal Engine 4, and then now they're sitting in 5, and I wish I could see what the original concepts were. Like, what did it look like at 3, and then 4, and then 5? But man, is it just pretty. The details on things, like it's wild. It looks very real life. And it runs so smoothly. I was kind of expecting when I saw some of the trailers, I was like, oh man, this thing's gonna melt my GPU, but no, it runs flawlessly. The lighting is immaculate. I will say some of the areas get a little dark, but it's a horror game. Like, I'm not gonna fault it for that. That's kind of the purpose. It's abandoned lunar base. There's gonna be dark parts. So there is one bit too where you get a flashlight when you're crawling through a dark tunnel, but then once you're out and about, you don't get that flashlight. So there's a little bit of weird, like, hey, it'd be kind of nice to have that flashlight. Sometimes I want to see But then also, again, like I get, like I talked earlier, there was that budget and limitation, so they had to kind of pick and choose what they could have. So maybe that was one of those bits. Maybe they wanted a flashlight initially, but had to pull it for certain reasons. Not sure, not a big deal. At the end of the day, visuals are just awesome. They're so good. I love, too, that 90s retro futuristic or like 80s future. It's really neat in this game. Creativity. High. I mean, I don't know what else to say on this. The creativity is so good. It's storytelling in a way of finding documentation or reading emails. It does not lay it out for you. There's no explanation at the beginning. It doesn't even really tell you why you're there at first. You don't even know your name. Like, you're just connecting the dots as you play through the game. And for that, I think your creativity has to be really high, because it's easy to just be like, your name is John. You enter this lunar base. There are bad guys. Don't die. Like, that's just kind of what we're used to for a lot of these. I don't know. This one is not that. You're piecing things together. It's clearly well written. It's clearly well thought out. The visuals are clearly inspired. I would say your creativity here is 10 out of 10. Okay, we're flying through these right now. This moves us into fun or frustrating. Man, I mean, fun's a weird one because it's a horror, and so, like, yeah, of course, if you're looking to get scared, then yes, it's fun to get scared in this game. I haven't found frustrating in it. There's been a tiny little bit of back and forth because there's no hand holding, where I'm kind of, scratching my head thinking like, well, where do I have to go for this? But none of it has felt frustrating so far. It's been fun. I will say for the horror part here at the beginning, I'm about 2 hours in, and the robots, the AI robots, aren't super scary. They are unsettling and spooky, and you do feel the pressure, to not get caught by them, but they're not as, like, I don't know, I'd say don't go into this thinking this is about to be the scariest game you're ever going to play. It's not that. The atmosphere is unsettling for sure, but you get used to the robots pretty quick, or at least I did. And I'm a pansy for horror games, so if I'm not super scared, veteran horror players are going to be just fine. Now, let's see, I don't know, I haven't been introduced to anything new yet. I don't know what the back half of this game is. It looks like it's shorter, averaging anywhere from like 4 to 6 hours to complete. So I don't know what the back half of this game is. Maybe they introduce a new monster and that gets scarier. But for now, that fun part of the horror, I would say like the horror is present but not over the top. You might like that. You might want more. That's personal taste. Now, does this respect your time? Do I want to keep playing? Am I hooked? Yeah, of course I am. I want to know the mystery. I'm not going to spoil anything here, but I want to know what happened. I want to know. No, I can't spoil it. I want to know. I want to keep playing to figure out the full story. And especially because it's shorter. I'm not sinking 30, 40 hours into this. There's no fluff here. You're just getting from one interesting thing to the next. So yes, I'm hooked. I want to see it to the end. Great. So I've had a blast, obviously, with Routine. I cannot wait to finish it. If you want to see me finish it, make sure you watch my streams Tuesdays and Thursday nights, where I'm going to wrap this one up. And then let me know in the comments below if you want to see me cover more indie horror games. I am a total pansy, like I said. I lose it on stream. Make sure you hop on over to Twitch and watch me stream. And then let me know again. Let me know if you want to see me cover more indie horror titles. Post them in the comments below and I'll take a peek at them. Thanks for watching. Okay, love you, bye. 80s future retro. Blah, 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 blah.